Welcome to the channel, to the stream, YouTube world, or wherever you may have found this link to my live stream. This is something I've never done before, where I actually live stream something political-ish in nature. I usually only do video games, which I actually will do after I get this off my chest. So I'm gonna right away jump into it because it's not like a lot of people come into my live streams to begin with. I'm just gonna blurt out some stuff to kind of get to the point. Then we're gonna like calm down a little bit, wait to see if, my usual 3 people come in. And then I might do some video games and still kind of address this kind of stuff here. I think it's really important. So let's get right into it. Okay. So today, it's been brought to my attention, as you can see clearly on the screen, Twitch removes blind playthrough tag following criticism from gamers with disabilities. Now, I have many disabilities. I'm not blind. The people criticizing aren't blind. They may be visually impaired. I mean, I have to wear glasses. I have an astigmatism. And what I'm about to say is actually really rude. But I'm going to start off with saying something really nice. I believe that the world should become better. I believe that the human race should evolve and be better. Things that we used to let slide, we shouldn't let it slide. And I agree with that. I'll give you some quick examples, and I agree there. Person in the chat. For example, let's get this right out there right now, because it sort of kind of ties in with this, but not really. Remember, I'm just ranting. The N-word should never be used. It's not funny. I don't think it's edgy. I think it's stupid. Let's get that out there right now. I believe that even though context matters, I understand how, you and your buddy are playing a video game and you keep losing. And, he says, and I got to do this, right? And he says, oh, that's so gay, right? Because what you're saying is that's bad, that's terrible. And then now you're associating that with, being gay as being bad. I get why you shouldn't say that. I've always been on board with not saying that. I've been guilty of saying it in the past just because it was like so natural for people to say. Don't forget I'm in my 40s now. I wasn't born 5 years ago. I grew up in the 70s and 80s. So what was okay back then isn't okay now for some stuff. And I get that we should try to change. Let people catch up, though. Some people aren't caught up to date. They don't go on Fox News or CNN to try to look up what's the new word today that I can't say so that, people don't get offended, right? That's the part to me that drives me nuts, because you have those hardcore social justice warriors that then go and dig up your past and go, hey, I saw your Prime Minister of Canada in blackface. He's a racist. And Donald Trump isn't, because you've never seen him in blackface. And that's why right there, I know I'm kind of going off the beaten path here, is a little, hard to understand on the surface. But for me, again, let's get this right out of the door, right out of the bag. I don't support the use of blackface. However, again, in the example with our Prime Minister here in Canada, I believe strongly in context. And that's another word I think for today. We have forgotten what that means. We have forgotten what context is. He was dressed up as Aladdin. It was like a Halloween party. I'm not saying he should go and do that today in 2020. That's not what I'm saying. But back when he did it in the 80s or 90s or early 2000s, context, what was he doing? Was he depicting black people as being lazy and over-sexualized and stupid like they did in the minstrel shows back in the 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s? No, it was completely different. The action was the same, but the intent was completely different. We had late talk show host Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, one of the Jimmys. I forget which one. They were mimicking Chris Rock on a Saturday Night Live skit, and they were in blackface because they were trying to mimic and look like Chris Rock because he's black. Jimmy's white. Again, I'm not saying that's okay. But unfortunately, at that time, some 2 decades ago, it was socially acceptable because it aired on Saturday Night fucking Live. 22 years later, there was a trend going on. Jimmy, whoever which one it was, Jimmy's canceled. Let's cancel The Late Show. He did blackface. He's a racist. Oh my God. No, he's not. Back then, like, that wasn't a topic of conversation. I didn't even know what blackface was until Megan, the newscast, said that she was going to keep letting her kids, go out for Halloween in blackface. I didn't even know what blackface was until last year. I was completely oblivious to it because I live in Canada. I'm not saying we never had blackface, but it wasn't predominantly going on like it was probably in the US several decades ago. So, but now that I'm educated on it, now that I get the blackface thing, I'm on board that you shouldn't do it, regardless of the context, because of, right, what it represents and the history behind it, which is like really, really nasty. So, blackface, not using gay to use something to describe a negative situation, I get that. I really do. And I don't think it's funny. This I think is funny. This I do. And in life, I find almost every situation has to be individually, like, dissected and researched. Every single little case, every word, every situation has to be analyzed and looked at because it's not always the same. So now I'm going to finally read what this little article says. And for the one person that's in here, which is probably me, I'll discuss with myself this shit. Then we'll get into something a little bit more lighthearted. We'll probably play a video game, probably Empire of Sin, where we play mobsters from the 1920s and we try to kill Al Capone. All right. So, like I said, Twitch removes blind playthrough tag following criticism from gamers with disabilities. You can still use first playthrough or opt to use it in combination with no spoilers for the same sentiment. Well, let me share something with you right now. It's not the same thing. It's not. Have we forgotten what the word blind means? It doesn't just mean this. I'm blind, I can't see. It doesn't just have that meaning. Oh no, it doesn't. Because according to the dictionary, the Oracle Google has spoken. Sure, as an adjective, unable to see, because of injury, disease, or congenital condition. Example, a blind man with a stick. But there's also another effing meaning to the word. Lacking perception, awareness, or discernment. It's a figure of speech. She was blind to the realities of her position. She wasn't literally blind. It's right there in the dictionary. I'm not making this up. Right? I'm not making this up. As a verb, deprive someone of understanding, judgment, or perception. Somehow Claire and I were just blinded to the truth. Well, technically everybody is because you can't see it. Now people are saying that it's ableism. It's an albist slur to use blind. Let's look at the definition of what ableism is. It's the discrimination of and social prejudice against people with disabilities based on the belief that typical abilities are superior. At its heart, ableism is rooted in the assumption that disabled people require fixing and defines people by their disability. Where is that happening with this? Where is it happening? A blind playthrough signifies that you are literally blind to it. You've seen nothing. Like John Cena, you can't see me. He's going to have to stop that now. You're going to have to stop saying, I'm happy to see you. Because that's ableism for people like me that suffer with depression. I don't like the fact that you're happy. What about me? I'm unhappy. Like, where's this? Like, and I'm being actually serious. I'm actually not trying to be funny. I'm actually really not trying to be funny right now. And I'm actually not even trying to be a smartass. I'm actually dead serious. 100,000 bazillion% serious. Is that the next thing? That we can't state that we're happy? Because it might offend someone who's unhappy? Like me, most of the time. I can be a miserable prick. I can admit that. But I don't get offended by people that are happy. I don't get offended by people that are slimmer than me, that are better looking than me, that are richer than me, that are more successful than me, that are better at talking than I am. I don't get offended by that. And I'm going to read what Skullwriter said there, and see, I actually have a vision problem. Because I can actually see pretty good, just not perfect, because the screen's a little bit far away. Let's see what he said. Let's recap on what he said. My one guy in the stream. There might be a couple of other people. People really take offense to literally everything nowadays, yes. I don't think there is anything wrong with using the tag blind playthrough. If I have never played a game before and never watched gameplay news about it, then I'm literally going in blind. And nowhere in that are you being derogatory. Nowhere are you discriminating or being prejudiced against people with that disability of being blind. Nowhere are you laughing at them. Nowhere are you going, haha, you can't see me. Like, you're not doing that. That would be rude. That I don't think is funny. Right? You don't see me laughing right now. But this is absolutely ridiculous. I really doubt that gamers with disabilities are taking offense to this. It's probably the social justice warriors of the platform who want to piss and moan about everything that isn't inclusive or is discriminatory. You could argue that anything I say you could take offense to, and that's the thing. Almost everything can be looked upon with a negative connotation. So furthering into this here, and I know I'm ranting, but that's why the live stream says that. Where was I? Right at the first paragraph. So Twitch has removed the tag blind playthrough in response to feedback from gamers with disabilities. Now, again, I'm not trying to be funny. I'm really not. I feel like I have to overemphasize that because, again, that could be taken the wrong way. Like I said, and not that it matters, or I suppose it does. Again, from gamers with disabilities. Well, I have disabilities. I'm on disability. It doesn't get more disabling than that. I do YouTube because I enjoy it. I'm very passionate about what I do. I live stream all the time. I've been live streaming for half a year. I make a nickel a live stream because nobody comes in here. But why do I do it when my channel still does very well? Because it's not just about the money. I truly enjoy this. This, to me, this is it. I love it. But I do as well do it because I am actually hoping to better my life, to get off of disability, because I have a lot of problems. Now, they're not generally physical, like I can walk and all that, right? So I'm not physically disabled. Me, it's mental. Still a disability. I still consider myself, a gamer with a disability. Not that I really see how that's relevant. Because if you're physically handicapped, right? Whether it's like physical, whatever you have, like some motor skill problems or just whatever, right? And again, I'm really not trying to be a comedian. I'm not trying to play dark humor. But I'm, again, being very serious right now. I highly doubt the blind people are getting offended by this. Right? And again, I'm not trying to be a smartass. I'm being dead serious. I really doubt that. Like, let's say you're in a wheelchair, you got a physical disability, which there's some people in the Twitch that have been talking about this are. They're not blind, by the way. They are not blind. And we'll get into that in a second. Do people with a disability like me, whether it's mental or other people where it's physical, they can't walk, they're wheelchair bound, whatever, what makes us supposedly have a stronger voice in fighting this when it has nothing to do with it? I can see. Not the best. My vision's really good, but it's not perfect. I still need my 4K goggles. See, I poke fun at myself. I still need to put these on so I can see, like, small little text from like 10 feet away on a small monitor. Are the people behind Twitch good? Oh, I have no idea. I don't know them personally. I just know that this is ridiculous. So I want to know who's getting offended. Who's? Because I'm not offended. I'm offended by the stupidity that is going on here, if you can't tell by the tone of my voice. So, moving on, because that was an important thing to say, this is in response from gamers with disabilities. Well, like I said, I'm a gamer with a disability, or disabilities. Let's put the S in there, because trust me, it's plural. There's a lot going on there. And that could be another discussion for another day if people are curious about all the problems that I got. I don't feel I have more of a voice. I don't feel that I should be listened to, or I should be heard or be taken more seriously about this matter for blind playthrough, because I'm not blind. And again, I'm not trying to be funny. I'm really not. I highly doubt real blind people, not that there's fake ones, but I'm talking about the ones that are visually impaired blind. Remember, there's two definitions to the word blind. I highly doubt they're getting offended for some obvious reasons, because they can't see the Twitch tags. And again, that's not a jab. I'm not laughing right now. And again, it's not an ableist slur, because we're not discriminating. We're not being prejudiced against them. We don't think we're superior to them. If we were, fine, I get it. If we were making fun of them, I get it. But we're not doing that. So I don't understand. Someone's got to help me understand, because I don't see it. Literally. Well, I wonder if they realize how it makes people with these disabilities feel, because it makes them look hypersensitive, when I'm certain they can't. Maybe a few here and there, but not the whole community. Well, that's the thing. Like, I'm not blind, so I can't speak for the blind community. And that kind of ties in with what I was just getting at a moment ago. Where do we, disabled gamers, have this voice? And if you were truly blind, again, I can't speak for them, but we're not making light of the situation that blind people are in. It goes with what I touched base on a few minutes ago with definition number 2. You're lacking perception, awareness, or discernment. She was blind to the realities of her position. That definition in the dictionary has been around for, I don't know, but it's not always to do with being visually impaired. It has to do with being unperceptive. When you're doing a blind playthrough, like, I even need to explain what that's supposed to mean. So that's my argument there again, where it says that you can still use first playthrough or opt to use it in combination with no spoilers for the same it's not the same sentiment. If I'm doing a blind playthrough because I have no prior knowledge of the game, I have seen nothing about the game, no information, nothing like that even needed to be explained, that doesn't mean there's not going to be any spoilers. Because if we're doing a playthrough, we're playing this shit through. You're going to see the beginning, you're going to see cutscenes, you're going to see actions, you're going to see the consequences for those actions. So I would argue that there are spoilers. So I don't see how replacing blind playthrough with even first playthrough is relevant or of the same sentiment. I can do a first playthrough, but that doesn't tell you that I have no knowledge about it. Me telling you it's a blind playthrough tells you I literally know nothing about the game. First playthrough just says it's the first playthrough. But I could have researched shit on IGN, GameSpot. I could have watched a bunch of streamers play the game for the past several months. Now the game is finally here, whatever game that may be. And now I'm getting into it with my first playthrough. But it's not blind. And it doesn't mean that there's no spoil. So that doesn't even make sense. The whole what you should opt to use instead. I don't, like I said, I don't understand. I really, really don't. And I tried. Before I went live, I looked into it instead of doing the knee-jerk reaction, and I said, let me look into this. Let me see if I can find the light at the end of the tunnel, or if I'm still lost, unable to find my way out of this pickle. Because, not that tunnels are usually made out of pickles, but whatever, it sounded catchy. Well, I wonder, oh yeah, I've read that, yeah. Yeah, serious, first playthrough and blind playthrough are not the same thing. They're not. They could potentially be. They could potentially be the same thing. Because generally a blind playthrough, actually even a blind, no, that's right. Like a blind playthrough is technically your first playthrough, but it also, in that one word, it's powerful because it describes that you have no prior knowledge, you've seen nothing, you're just diving in. Literally. You know? So that's why, to me, is there another word? Like, first playthrough with no prior knowledge of the game. No. Just a 5-letter word describes all of that junk. If there's a better word, to replace it with, I don't know. So now I've touched this. I've touched on the title, how it makes no sense to change it to these other words because they're not the same thing. I've also talked about how this is coming from people that aren't even visually impaired that are complaining. Not that I know every single person that's complained, but I'm just saying from what I've seen. So then it says here, Purem came in. Sounds like they have outsmarted themselves with fancy terms, just label content as spoiler. But that's the thing, if I say it's a no spoiler gameplay, that still doesn't tell you that it's a blind playthrough. It still doesn't tell you that I know nothing about this game, and it doesn't tell you that you're not going to see spoilers when I play the game, especially if I'm playing the cutscenes and all that. So to go through with this a little bit here, Twitch has removed the tag blind playthrough in response to the feedback from gamers with disabilities. The streaming platform encourages streamers to use alternate terms, such as first playthrough. I just debunked why that's stupid. Or no spoilers. Again, I'm missing something. I'll read that in a second. Happy to see Twitch has listened to everyone who shared feedback and removed the blind playthrough tag to encourage more inclusive language from our community. Tweeted Twitch's community and creator marketer Erin Aurelian right there, which I've messaged her earlier, says you can still use first playthrough or opt to use it in combination with no spoilers for the same sentiment. But again, I just talked about how it's not the same thing. Who gives a rat's ass if you know the game as you play it? Why does that even matter? I'll tell you why it matters. It's just a thing people do. So when I stream some games that I know nothing about, I used to put that tag in there. Rarely, though, because it usually wasn't, for me, a blind playthrough. What that lets the viewer know that's potentially going to come into your stream is that you don't know jack shit about the game. In other words, calm down with telling the guy or girl, what are you, a noob? Haven't you played this game before or seen anything about the game? How come you don't know how to pronounce their name? Or how come you don't know that you can transmog your gear? How come you didn't know that you can fly? How come you didn't know this, that, and the other thing? It just lets the people know in that simple 5-letter word, blind, that you know jack shit about the game. You've never played it. You've seen nothing. You've seen no footage. You are, like I said a moment ago, lacking awareness, discernment, perception, to the game. It just it helps narrow down what it is you're about to get into. It shouldn't matter in that if you enjoy the streamer, whether they've played the game before or not shouldn't really matter. In that sense, it doesn't matter. But for other viewers that may not know you, it's just, it says so much in that title. It really explains a lot. So, yeah, so she said that, and then she goes, I'm happy. In other words, you just want an excuse for poor play. To me, it's stupid. Well, what to me is stupid is people that get bent out of shape because someone's never played the game before or has no prior knowledge about the game. So therefore, they're not good at the game. To me, that's stupid. Like, not everybody's an elite hardcore gamer. So to me, that's stupid. So because of people's attitudes and them being stupid, having to use terminology like blind playthrough is stupid. You see that again? I don't think using it is stupid, but the fact that we have to use it to cater to the potential people that are going to get bent out of shape over the fact that I have no knowledge prior, I have no prior knowledge to this game, that is stupid, which leads to having to even ever have used this term to begin with as being stupid. It also lets the viewer know they are going to watch someone learn everything for the first time, so they aren't looking for what they know already, if they should watch or not. Yeah, like, I mean, there's just that too, you know? Me personally, when I watch a streamer, I don't give a shit. I don't give a rat's ass if you've played it or not. I'm just watching to see you, whoever he or she is, and to see the bloody game played, whether it's good or bad. I don't care if you've played Call of Duty before and you can't kill worth a damn, like me, or if you're a sniper and you're able to one-shot everyone. Either streamer, the guy who sucks or the guy who's a world-class champion, I still get to see the game in action. I still get to get a taste as to whether or not I think that's the game maybe for me. Oh, those guns look cool. Oh, those skins look kind of neat. Oh, that's a cool operator. Oh, I like what they did there with that map. Oh, they brought back the one from a couple of years ago. Okay, yeah, that's nice. Oh, they have 5 more maps than they do from the prior game. Oh, okay. Right on. Oh, it's cross-buy if you paid the extra $10. Okay, that's not too bad. You get to find out all that information in a playthrough, whether the guy is good or not. So for me, it doesn't matter. For some other people, it might. Oh, I'm just ranting about the stupidity. We've become soft as a society. It's pathetic. Well, in that instance, spoiler, but again, if you come into a playthrough and you're worried about getting a spoiler, then don't look into something. Don't start waving your hand above a stove, wondering if it might have been turned on prior. If you're worried about a little heat, because it might have been turned on a few hours ago, weird analogy, but I know what I'm getting at, then don't even bother waving your hand and rubbing it over the stove. Just stay away from it. Don't even go there to begin with. Just don't. I didn't want to know what was going on at Survivor Series for WWE wrestling event that occurred a few weeks ago. So I didn't even Google it. I didn't tweet it. I didn't Facebook it. I didn't Instagram it. I did nothing. I stayed away because I didn't want to get spoiled. But this is a little bit different now. Right? Again, when I say a blind playthrough, that title tells you everything you need to know. But nowhere is that relevant to no spoilers. There could still be spoilers in a blind playthrough, especially if I'm playing the whole bloody game from the beginning of it to the end. I'm failing to see something that supposedly all these other people that are on board see. You know, I don't get it. I really just don't get it. I tried really hard before I went on the stream. Like I said, don't do a knee-jerk reaction. Hold off before you go all bipolar. Simmer down. Have a Diet Pepsi. Take a deep breath. Do a little research. Take some notes down. Then make your judgment call. Then go live. Then see what's up. And I still stand by what I said. I don't think it's funny to use the N word. I don't think it's funny to say, oh, that's so gay, to refer to something negative, because then you're saying, right, like I said at the beginning of the stream, there's that connection that you're basically saying it's wrong or it's bad to be gay. I get that. I've always gotten that. And again, that's why each and every single situation has to be dissected literally, individually. You know, I'll eat a pig's ass if you cook it right, but I won't eat a horse. Everything has to be looked at separately, right? To some people, there's no difference. You eat a cat, a dog, a fish, a cow, it makes no difference to some people. And to some others, it does. There's just that thing. And then on the surface, for some people, they may not understand. And yes, I'm kind of going all over the place because that's just what I do. And then you have to kind of look into why is it generally not accepted to eat a horse, but it seems to be generally accepted to be able to eat a cow and a pig and all that kind of stuff. Okay? Sort of, kind of, not really the same thing here. But I'm stumped. I really am. I am really stumped. Like it's literally just wow. No, a supplier alert lets me, oh, sorry, spoiler, I guess you meant, lets me know if I'll see spoilers or not myself usually. If I watch a Demon Souls playthrough, it could be experienced. It could be an experienced person who knows everything, right, and all the tricks. I prefer napalming the trolls. Yeah, 28 seconds about absolutely nothing. Apparently my thing, OBS reconnection successful. Okay. Of course, anytime you watch a video or stream, you could see spoilers if you've never seen it. Well, but that's something else kind of entirely, a little bit. Something that annoys me is people using sexuality as insults. Yeah, I just don't think it's funny. It's poor taste. And I'm all for crude and rude humor. I've said this before, and it's really rude. One of my ultimate comebacks when people like to make fun of how I look physically for whatever reason, or they call me a name or a slur. Like I get called gay and all this kind of stuff all the time. I just don't care. It just doesn't bother me. But I will never tell you that it shouldn't bother you. You can't tell people how they should feel. I'm not trying to convince people here that they should get on my side and not Twitch's side. That's not what I'm saying. I get about society moving forward. I get that we should evolve as a species because sometimes it feels like we're, in stasis mode. We're not advancing, or sometimes it feels like we're on a decline and we're regressing and we're not progressing. And I feel like there's just some stuff is out of control. I feel like it's trendy to be offended by everything, right? There are some things in the past that I didn't understand. I looked into them and I understood. I didn't necessarily always agree with it, but I understood. I grasped the basic concept of what the message was portraying, even if I didn't agree with it necessarily. This I just don't get. I don't agree with it. I do not see an ounce, a sliver, a grain in the sand of the Sahara Desert logic behind this specific move, behind this specific supposed ableist slur. I don't see it. Literally. I don't get it. I'm trying to, but I don't. I'll take a moment, catch my breath. Yeah, we're evolving backwards. I sometimes play Hitman too, just not as much. So again, a little bit of a recap. A little bit of a quick recap in case you weren't here 35 minutes ago when I was rambling on about nothing. Just a little quick recap, which I'm not good at doing, but I'll try to do it. Twitch has removed blind playthrough tag following criticism from gamers with disabilities. You can still use first playthrough or opt to use it in combination with no spoilers for the same sentiment. That first paragraph there, again, I've already debunked it. It's not the same thing. So they've removed it because gamers with disabilities are complaining. Then I talked about what gamers with disabilities were complaining. I'm a disabled gamer. I'm not complaining. Mind you, I don't have a visual impairment disability. And I don't think they're the ones that were complaining. The streaming platform encourages streamers to use alternate terms. First playthrough or no spoilers. Again, just because I put blind play, it just means I have no knowledge of the game. That doesn't mean you aren't going to get spoiled. Anything you watch for the first time on your end, if I'm streaming, like Cyberpunk is coming out in a couple of days, right? Cyberpunk is coming out in a few days. Let's use that as an example. In 4 days, it comes out. Cyberpunk 2077. I'm going to be streaming it. I'm going to be playing through the story. You are technically getting spoiled because you are going to see shit that you wouldn't have seen had you not watched my live stream on the game. So by me saying no spoilers, no spoiler playthrough. So what? When I play the game, I have to skip all the cutscenes and tell you nothing about the story? Oh, what did Jenny tell? Oh, this is a no spoiler playthrough. I can't let you see anything. That gives a whole new meaning to blind playthrough there. See what I did there? That was cringy. Because you can't see shit because I was skipping all the cutscenes. So that makes no sense. And again, first playthrough. Well, just because it's my first playthrough doesn't mean I don't have prior knowledge of the game. I could be an expert. I could know what I'm doing. I've seen all these. Oh yeah, I know where I'm going. Like when I played WoW and I was starting to quest. It was my first playthrough, but I knew what I was doing. You would have thought I'd been doing this all along. But when it's blind, what is he staring at the wall for? Oh, he's trying to figure out that there's a puzzle. If you click on the candle, you turn it to the left, it opens a secret. Oh, okay. So they're not the same thing. Even with the two that they want us to use, first playthrough is not the same thing as no spoiler, and it's not the same fucking thing as a blind playthrough. So my argument again is, if it's such a terrible word to use, what other word am I supposed to use? Playthrough, quotation mark. I have no prior knowledge or information about the game. No. And I've said that about 15 minutes ago. That 5-letter word, the supposed ableist slur, describes that entire sentence in that one word. It's a powerful word. It really describes what is going on in there, or what's not going on. Oh, man. I can't wait until we devolve into cells. And yes, the good old days that only the OGs can remember. Twitch is stupid as they can be. I mean, they won't get rid of some simp magnet like Delphine. Yeah, so they won't get rid of a girl who frolics around naked in a bathtub selling her bath water. Thank you for pointing that out, because I just had an epiphany. There's a girl, I forget her name, Alanity, whatever. She spits in her dog's face, slaps it around, tosses her cat over her shoulder. I would show you, but I don't want to, because that could actually potentially flag my live stream, and she's not worth it. And she's abusive to animals. There's no defending it. She's been caught red-handed, left-handed, left foot, right foot, whatever term you want to use. She has been caught abusing her animals and doing questionable behavior with her animals. If you don't believe me, you can look it up. There's even a video of her in the downward dog position, a yoga move, with her dog's snout right up in her wah-wah. Okay? Just some really inappropriate shit. Then they can't tell us why Dr. Disrespect got banned. But we're removing the word blind because, you know, the disabled gamer community feels offended. I feel offended that Twitch is willing to let animal abusers on. That's what I'm offended by. But, she's got tits and stuff, right? So we'll just keep her around 'cause she makes us a lot of money. But then what happened with Dr. Disrespect? He doesn't even know what the hell happened to himself. He doesn't even know. Or maybe he does. Whatever. That's a conspiracy theory. I truly believe he has no idea what happened to him. They won't even say to him what happened. Or maybe whatever. Again, I'm not always looking to see that people are lying. I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. I believe he doesn't know what happened to him. And I've had similar things happen to me, but on a much, much, much smaller scale. Didn't go worldwide as headline news. But yeah, the dog snout was right up her ass. And that's not me trying to be funny. It actually happened. These are all things that you can look up yourself and see that I'm not making this shit up. Again, recap on the definition of blind as per the dictionary is unable to see because of injury, disease, or a congenital condition. But it also means lacking perception, awareness, or discernment. Right? And again, when they say that it's ableism, well, let's look at the definition. Again, ableism is the discrimination of and social prejudice against people with disabilities based on the belief that typical abilities are superior. At its heart, ableism is rooted in the assumption that disabled people require fixing and defines people by their disability. That's not at all what's going on when you titled your playthrough as that. We are nowhere giving it a negative connotation or any type of ableism. That's another word that just gets thrown out there all the time. It's ableist slur, every ableist slur. I said this, what was it, a half hour ago? Hey, Jim, happy to see you. I'm offended because I'm not happy. Yeah, exactly. Where do we draw the line? Who gets to draw the line? Who gets to decide where the fuck the line is drawn? That can be hard to do. And I'm repeating what I said about 20 minutes ago. That's why every single situation has to be analyzed accordingly. The N-word, you just don't fucking say it. Oh, that's so gay. You don't say it because you're insinuating someone's sexuality is bad and it's stupid and it shouldn't happen. I get that. Again, I've always understood that. I've always been on board with that. That is, okay? Use another word. There's like 187,000 words in the English dictionary. There's really only a select few that are super nasty. Find one of the other 186,983 words that's at your disposal via the Oracle Google and help find yourself another word. Like how I call people dingus or dingleberry. No one's getting offended by it. I mean, they're getting offended by it because I'm putting a negative connotation on it, but it's not attacking anybody except for the specific person I'm talking to. When someone ridicules my looks and I say, well, at least I don't look like I survived an abortion. See, I can be extremely nasty and rude and crude, but without having to use those other slurs that we all know are just not nice. Like the F word, but the homosexual slur, right? That 3-letter word that has been thrown around a lot, myself included, a good quarter of a century ago, because it wasn't to try to be edgy again. There's a different time. It wasn't because it was cool to say it. It was just because that's what you said, right? That's it. That's just what you said. It was just one of the words at your disposal that people used, and people didn't go, oh my God, did he just say that? Did he just say that? But now it's 2020. You can't say that. People are on board with it. They don't say it, but then they go back. I saw that Phil guy, that bald pumpkin prick. He used the F slur word in 1993. We should cancel him. You are mentally inept if you believe that that should happen. First of all, people can change. And again, that's where time is relevant. Because what was okay at one point, we're not necessarily okay, but more allowed, right? Could maybe not be okay now. Which is why with like the prime minister, as a Dingleberry, I'm a fan. Yeah. Oh, Pure's still here. And that's like I talked about earlier, context, and I don't think it's funny. And I don't want to get too deep into it because I've already talked about it. And that's kind of like talking about racism and, is sort of kind of not really on topic. But I'll still go there because it has to do with that whole cancel culture thing, which I think is very dangerous. If you're a piece of shit like Keemstar, you should be canceled because you're just a hateful bigot that likes to dox people and do a whole bunch of other stuff that's absolutely terrible. PewDiePie, no offense. He does a really terrible job of showing that he's trying to evolve in some ways. Using Nazi propaganda, using the N-word more than once, more than twice, more than 3 times. Sometimes it takes a lifetime for people to, you know what I'm saying, get better. No one's perfect, but I'm just saying. And in certain cases, again, I don't think PewDiePie should be canceled. I just think he needs to smarten the fuck up. And he has. Keemstar needs to be canceled because he hasn't smartened up. So, again, every person needs to be analyzed differently. Trump has never done blackface, but I truly, wholeheartedly believe 100% he is a racist, a textbook racist. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau did the blackface, did what you should not do. Yet to me, I am confident to tell you he is not a racist. And that's why, again, on the surface, it's very interesting. Well, hey, he never did this and never said that, but yet you're saying that he is that thing. Yet your other guy right over there, he did say that. He did do that, but you're saying that he's not that thing. And it could be tricky, but you got to dig deep into it. When did he do it? What was the context? What was he doing? Did he apologize? Has he repeated that action since then? Was he prime minister at the time? Was he held to that same level as he was back in 2001? Does he understand that it's not okay to do that now, and it wasn't necessarily okay to do it then, but it was more socially accepted back then? It was on Saturday Night Live. You can't get mad at somebody for doing that. Yeah, that's fine. I'm just ranting about nothing anyways. Almost an hour ranting about the same thing, running in circles. But that's okay, though. That's okay. And funny enough, I still got about the same amount of likes and the same amount of viewers in the live stream, whether I'm just ranting on about one thing. Oh, that's fine. No, I was just giving examples of why it sort of like loosely ties in. I was talking about cancel culture and why that can be dangerous. Because as we move on through time, this is important because this is very important to me, as you can tell, simply because of that. There are things like this, just not this, in my opinion, that needs to be talked about, that needs to be done. Like how I don't know all the details on it, so I don't want to talk too much about it because I'm not too knowledgeable about it. But recently, I read some article about transphobia and how in pictures or paintings, we have to stop as a society as always depicting the girl going as a guy or vice versa, as it always having to do with their sexuality, like trying to make them always feel like they're more sexually, what's the word I'm looking for? Like their inhibitions are lower than another person, trying to over sexualize them again to try to identify them as just that. And I get that because then you always make like that automatic association, and then that can have some really nasty negative effects. And there's a lot of violence towards trans people. It's very, very nasty. So, again, each thing has to be looked at differently. Oh, that's because it was tying into like, I get how, especially the last few years, it really seems like we're trying to make big moves to do better as a society, to be kinder, to be nicer, to be better educated so we can better understand why is it that society wants to take certain steps to go forward, right? Why is it that society feels that gay people should be allowed to be married, for example? So even though I'm a Christian and in the Bible, this is going somewhere completely different now, wouldn't exactly be on board with it to the best of my knowledge. I still believe they should be allowed to get married, especially for legal rights. You have a gay couple and you have a partner. One of the partners, they're, let's say, in the hospital, they're on their deathbed. Well, their partner, their gay partner, 9 times out of 10, maybe 8 times out of 10, whatever, high amount of times out of 10, won't have any rights to their partner that they could have been with for decades because they're gay. Because in a lot of places, gay marriage is not allowed, so they don't get those same rights that they do with their partner to be able to make the call like, well, let me help be the administrator of the will, or let me be able to have the power to decide whether or not the person's going to be kept on a ventilator or not. You have to be able to separate your supposed religious beliefs and let people have basic human rights. It's like a way completely different example of what I'm talking about here today, predominantly, but it sort of kind of ties in to the same thing. Society trying to move forward to be better, and I get that. I get that. Even though the Bible that I read teaches me, supposedly, that that's not exactly the way things are supposed to be, that doesn't effing matter. It doesn't matter what I think, if I think it's a sin or not. No one's perfect, for one thing. It doesn't affect your life personally. What do you care if two people get together and they're a couple and they're married and it helps for legality reasons as well? Why does someone who's not gay, who's religious like me, why would someone like me be so offended by that, would be so against that? Oh, that's not taught in the Bible. Who cares? Not everybody's religious, for one. Not everybody's a Christian, for one. So you have to get your head out of your own ass and realize that not everybody is like you. People have a right to live in this miserable world of ours, which can be pretty miserable. It could be pretty toxic. Seems like everything's trying to kick your ass. You go in an airplane, it could crash and disappear. You could stand on the ground, it could fucking open up right beneath you and fucking swallow you whole. You could end up walking by someone who's sick and it kills you 2 weeks later because of COVID. It always seems like something could kick your ass. This life is rough. If you're able to find somebody else to share that life with, to share that pain, let them be. Who cares what you think religiously? Is it affecting you? Are they trying to, sneak into your house and do something? No, then piss off. So that's why I'm on board with that, and I argue with sounds good. Uh yeah, I got distracted there, but they can just do what they want. I just, like I said, I never understood why a lot of people like to pry into other people's business. Whether you agree with it or not, whether your Bible tells you that it's okay or not, because I could promise you those Bible thumpers, they've got a few things they don't want you to know about them, right? Because again, no one's perfect. There's no one on here that like is 100% perfect. There's just none. Doesn't exist. Unless, of course, you're a narcissist, because then you will truly believe that you are perfect. But, so again, it all kind of ties in with moving forward. I get it. But I joke around. I'm off more into watching you do game. Well, of course. But at least this ain't clickbait. You know what I'm saying? This is far from, I mean, the title doesn't even talk about video games. I mean, I teased that I might get into a game. I don't know if I have time to be honest. I kind of went a lot longer with this than I thought. This is almost like podcast style type thing. But it all goes back to today's topic because it is a hot topic for today. And I stand by what I said. It's ridiculous. However, I am on board with the idea that there's things out there in the world that need to change. I don't think this is one of them. I think we're really going in too far. Yeah. And again, and when I do these and when I talk about this, I don't want people to agree with me. I don't want people to disagree with me. This isn't like, you know, me trying to make you feel differently. I don't like doing that. That's not my job. Again, I've rarely talked about this, but because it's this type of stream, like I said before, and I'm not trust me, I'm not perfect. I can I could tell you that bluntly. I am a flawed, failed Christian, but I have that belief in that, faith. But you never hear me go, "Oh, you better be careful or you're going to hell." Like, you've never seen me or heard me condemn someone to hell. Maybe as a joke, like if I was playing like Doom and I kept falling in the lava and I was like fighting demons and you were laughing at me, I might be like, "Listen, laugh at me now, but that's your fate in the long run for real." Yeah, that's a joke, obviously, but in that moment, you would probably get that. And you would see my facial expression, my body language, my tone. You would know that I was just kidding. But I just don't do that. The only sin ever is being alive. Yeah. Another perspective, agree, if you really want to educate. Well, that's the thing. And like I said with this, I don't agree with this, but I still read it. I still broke it down piece by piece. Did I do a good job? That's not even the point. It's that I didn't read it and then just go, "That's stupid. What the hell is that?" I gave it a moment. I sat on it. I had a small bowl of popcorn, counted it with my Weight Watchers. It was only 4 points. Had my little Diet Pepsi. No sugar, no carbs, but a little caffeine just to get the zing in my brain. Then I looked up some definitions. Hey, I was pretty sure there was more than one definition officially to the word blind. Let me research it before I say something that's incorrect and it makes me look like a fool. That's not an ableist slur. Well, wait, let me look at the definition to make sure that I'm correct on that and to break it down piece by piece. Do a little investigation. Because that's another problem I find people have. They see something and they have, like I've said about 10 times in this stream, what's called a knee-jerk reaction. Oh, they just right away, they just jump at it without even giving it any thought. I gave it a good thought, close to an hour before I even went to live stream. And it was just something I felt like talking about. I was going to do a regular upload video, like a regular rant. And then I was like, let me put myself in an uncomfortable position and let me live stream some shit that I don't know too much about. And I'm having fun, which selfishly is really important. I have to enjoy what I do. I love venting and talking. It's not like I can pick up this phone and call a bunch of people and go, "I have something I would like to share with you today." I can't do that. This is my phone, YouTube. That's my social outlet. right? That's why I generally do YouTube for games, generally Twitch for the politics and all that stuff. But sometimes on YouTube, sure, I'll kind of go a bit of a different route because I've always kind of done a little bit of everything. I just am predominantly into video games because I'm also predominantly into being happy because I do have depression and other problems. I don't always want to dwell on this kind of stuff. I want to be happy, in a good mood, playing the game. It's an escape. It helps my anxiety, depression, all those things that I have. It just helps when I play a game, and it's healthy for me. It really is healthy. And when I play WoW, I feel like I'm connected to the world because it's an MMORPG, LMNOP. See what I did there? That was me trying to be funny. And I feel connected to the world. I still go outside. I mean, not as much now because COVID, but even COVID or not, I was never really one for really going out and hanging out with the bros. That wasn't really my thing. I mean, when I was 12, it was, but no, this is it here. You know, I like this shit. It's fun. I'm just pausing there because I'm trying to recap. Remember, I'm huge on trying to include everyone. I'm trying to be inclusive of everybody that speaks to me, all 4 people in here. I like poking fun at myself as well. It's okay. We can do that. 12,000 subscribers, but 4 people in the stream. It's okay. Say it. I know you're thinking it. I'll survive. You don't have to agree or disagree. Oh, just listen and understand at least where they're coming. Yeah, and that's what I did, Damien. That's what I did. I did listen to them. Some people feel very passionate about this. Some people are so incredibly happy that this happened. Oh, there's a guy here. Now, I do not agree with this guy at all. He's physically handy. Again, I feel like I have to like explain everything I say when I'm like, like I'm not making fun of him. I believe he's part of the disabled community. I don't know his story. But I don't think he's blind. I don't think that's his disability. And he's happy to see Twitch following through on a promise to address and resolve issues that concerns from the disability community. He says it's just the beginning. And then he goes on to talk about, for those who will ask what's wrong with blind playthrough, this is the thread that started this. And then maybe I can skim through it super duper quickly. Maybe. But again, I took the time. And again, for this guy, Steven, Spawn, whatever his name is, I don't think he's an idiot. He could be a super nice guy. I don't know him. I can't judge him. I'm judging the movement from Twitch. That I judged, and I judged it hard. He's happy. I don't want to take away that happiness away from him. I'm not an asshole. I'm just also not someone who's easily offended or offended at all. And again, I'm never going to message him. I'm never going to try and make him feel like he's being too sensitive. I'm never going to tell him, you should think this is ridiculous. I'm never going to tell him that. A Trump supporter, I will never tell a Trump supporter, you shouldn't support Trump. You should support Biden. You will never, ever hear me do that. But I will beat around the bush and tell you that I would never support Trump. But again, that's not me telling you who you should support. You see the difference there? That's what being called a bigot is. You don't see me telling a Muslim, a Jewish person, an atheist person, an agnostic person that they need to get on board, pick up their Bible, and turn to Christ. You don't hear me doing that because that's just not who I am. I'm not your traditional person like that. You know what I mean? That's just not my thing. Now, my Christian pals used to get on my case and be like, you need to be harder. You need to go after people. It's like, well, that's funny because, Jesus never did that. So why do I need to do that? You see what I'm saying? He never did that. The rich man, Lazarus, Said, Jesus, how do I get into heaven? And he told him. He didn't like the answer. I think that was his name. Shows you how much I remember all their names. But the point of the story is the guy walked away. What did Jesus do? He didn't look pleased, but he didn't go running after him. He didn't grab his arm. He didn't say, hey, you want to burn in hell, pal? You better listen to what the fuck I just said. Nowhere ever did Jesus ever do that. So that's why all these Christians that go out and do that, that's why I call them fake Christians, because they're not walking like Christ. They're not. They're doing the complete opposite. They're being like a bully. They're essentially a bully. They are a bigot bully. They're a BB. That's what I call a BB. A bigoted bully. They don't care to listen to other people's side of any matter, religious or what, but they expect everyone to listen to them. That's what makes a person a bigot. That's the epitome of a bigot right there. Me, I listen. I've spoken to Muslims, Jew. Do I agree? Don't have to agree with them. But how can you be expected to be heard if you're not even willing to do that for the person you're expecting that from? Now that makes you a hypocrite. Anyways, I could go on forever. That's clear that I'm capable of doing that. I missed something. Kid Joker. Don't say that. Never mind. That went over my head. Did Phil just exist? That's it. That's a sin on its own. Yes, I'm close to 12K subscribers. You have a physical job, and I'm probably not going to make anything off of YouTube because in Tokyo everything is expensive, right? And I don't think you'll be able to see the tag. And again, I wasn't trying to be funny when I said that either. The people that are saying we're part of the disabled community, they're almost talking as if they have like a higher presence, which I get it. If you're actually gay, you have a stronger voice to talk about gay rights, although you shouldn't have to be gay to help defend gay rights and all that kind of stuff. You shouldn't have to be black to talk about racism and combat it. I get that. But this specific disability of being blind, literally, again, it wasn't to be funny. I don't think they're the ones that are complaining about the tags on Twitch. Now, don't get me wrong. There could be some blind people on Twitch because they'll listen to it like a podcast. But if there's a tag that says blind playthrough, I really don't think they're going to notice it. You know, was I trying to be funny? No, I wasn't. But, and it's sad because sometimes, touching on comedy as well, and I'm not a funny person, but I love comedy. I love like, oh my God, did he just say that? That kind of stuff. It kind of sucks too because times are changing. Things that you can joke about, 20 years ago, 5 years ago, you can't joke about now. TV shows like Married with Children, Friends, Seinfeld, completely different shows from each other. Those are types of shows that were very successful. They lasted a long time. But you would not have that same content allowed today. It just wouldn't happen. And that's because, we've become sensitive. But like I said before, and it sounds a little bit, what's the word I'm looking for? It sounds contradicting. But I truly feel like, in a way, we've gotten this way, too soft. But at the same time, we've also gone this way, equally. And we've become emboldened to be pricks, say things that we normally wouldn't say, with the likes of Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Social media has been around for a while. I've been chatting on the internet for like a quarter of a century. I remember back in the 90s, it was all like BBS. It was all like letters. There was no pictures or colors or nothing. It was all black and white. And we were chatting with each other. People around the world were chatting. We were going to chat rooms that were called BBS, bulletin boards. There was no microphones or webcams or any of that, but you could still chat. You could still send messages to people and have public chats and all that. And it was a lot of fun. And some of the things that you could say then and, have a good laugh, you try do that now and you'll be banned for it, right? And I get it. Some things that you would get banned for today, some things, I won't say exactly which ones specifically, they should have been banned right from the get-go. In other words, they never should have been allowed to begin with, but for whatever reason, certain things were allowed, and then one day we woke up and we said we're going to take a stand, and this is no longer okay. You can't do it. Effective immediately, the year 2020, you can't say this. And that goes back to what I said earlier, and that's why you can't go back and say, well, you're preaching this now, but yet, isn't this you? That's another meme. Is this you? And then they like tweet you or something, like a video or a picture of you saying something that wasn't so nice from 35 years ago, saying, is this you? Is that you? Yeah, it's me. I know what I said. It's right there, you idiot. I know what I said in 1983. You're going to hold me accountable to what I said in 1983 when in 1983 it was okay then to do that, right? It's now is now. Did I do it now? Have I done it since then? No. So then piss off, right? Which is why I don't like the whole cancel culture. Like I said, I've already mentioned that a couple of times. It can be quite dangerous. And now that can create a different type of anxiety for some other people, some other content creators, having to watch and feel like they're tippy-toeing on eggshells, not knowing, can I say this word? Can I say this? Can I say that? Like, that's I think the most frustrating part is trying to keep up with everything and then like trying to keep notes. Oh yeah, that's right. I can't say this word. Oh, I can't say blind playthrough, but I can throw my cat. I can slap my dog and spit in his face though. Okay. There's no logic, but that's the rules on Twitch. And again, that's not me making a joke. That's like an actual fact again. It's not a joke, but we can make a joke of it because it's pathetic, right? And again, I'm not even exaggerating. So it's the inconsistency. Things that most people would agree that shouldn't be allowed is allowed. Anyways. Yeah, it's wild. As bad as it sounds, it's true there. Like if there was slander to blind people, yeah, see it or not, it shouldn't be there. But this isn't even close to slander. That's right. It's an entirely different definition of blind. That's right. It ties into that second definition. Now I've been doing this for, I guess the whole thing wasn't really about games, but then again, it wasn't titled that was going to be. So I'm going to finish off here with maybe I'll finish off. We'll just kind of see what happens here. So this is Steven Spawn. This is the guy that back in June, he's part of the disabled community. I don't know anything about him. Again, this isn't about him, but he posted something. And again, I see where he's coming from with some of the stuff. I just don't agree with all of it. Some of it, not all of it, a little bit of it here and there. And let's just read what he said. I'd like you to do me a favor, he says. Use your phone or a notebook to keep track of the number of times you use ableist language in conversation this week. The words lame, blind to criticism, falling on deaf ears, don't be a spaz, retarded. Then ask, what was I actually trying to say there? You'd be surprised. So I get what he's saying. I'm not going to break down every single word that he uses. There's only one word on there that's sort of like, I don't agree with it. But I try not to say it just because I'm trying to cover my own ass in case it ends up, being considered not hate speech, but like considered something that's like so bad that like YouTube could strike your channel. I don't think using the word lame or blind to criticism, because again, blind to criticism, we talked about it. When you're blind to the criticism, it's like being blind to the realities of her position as an adjective, lacking perception, awareness, or discernment. So that debunks that. Lame. Up until a while ago, I did not know fully the original definition of lame, especially of an animal unable to walk without difficulty as the result of an injury or illness affecting the leg or foot. Okay. So when you say, oh man, that's lame, again, nowhere are we making fun of a horse that's limping. Because what's the other definition? Of something intended to be entertaining, but it's uninspiring and dull. I found the program pretty lame and not very informative. Again, we're not attacking the limping, hobbling, incapacitated, debilitated, deformed horse. Words sometimes have more than one meaning. So lame, it's gone. Blind to criticism, it's gone. Falling on deaf ears, I never really fully understood that on the surface, what it meant or means. I get an idea, obviously. I've never used it. Don't be a spaz. Okay, whatever. Now, retarded. I mean, yeah, I get, not a nice thing to say. Uh, that's an iffy one for me. Like I said, I probably will try and refrain from using it, but not because I'm trying to be a better person. At least I'm honest. At least I'm being honest. It's mainly because I don't want potentially YouTube decapitating my income ability because of one word I couldn't stay away from. Me personally, I know what the word means. But when you're throwing it at someone and you're calling them that word, it's pretty obvious what you're trying to tell them. That, you know, they're not mentally all there and you're challenging their intelligence. But again, even in something like that, you're not attacking the people that are mentally challenged. But I kind of get that one a bit more. I'm just saying. The other ones, I'm just like, yeah, no, I'm sorry. I don't think so. Like he says here, if you have a parking ticket and you say that's lame, what you actually meant was that sucks. Okay, to me, I still stand by what I just said. That's not an ableist slur. If you die in a video game and you yell that was retarded, what you meant to say is that was bad or that was stupid. I wouldn't use that word just because to me it doesn't make sense to use it, but not so much because it could be potentially offensive. Ableist language is inserting a disability in a place of a negative word. But again, going back to the blind playthrough, we're not saying that it's negative. Nowhere are we insinuating there's anything negative about it being our first playthrough. Apart that the gameplay might be a little bit slow if you're expecting someone to know what they're doing. Right? Now, this one I agree with. Just like we used to say that's gay when something was bad. Using disability terms as an alternate word for a negative situation. Except the problem is being gay isn't a disability. And I'm not saying that that's what he was implying, but I'm just saying, I'm not trying to read too much into it there. But again, that's not something that is a disability. But that one I get it, because when you're like, stop doing this, stop doing that, and you use that word, yeah, that one I get more. And then again, I'm not going to bother, but he goes on repeating the other person about the blind playthrough. So that was the guy that started talking about it on Twitter. I'm not saying he was the main motivating force behind the whole movement for Twitch to take their stand on what happened today. But yeah, it's just simple. I agree with him like 20% on, you know what I mean, on the grand scale of things. And that's pretty much it. There's really not much more else to say. I mean, there really wasn't much else to say the entire time I was ranting, simply because I kind of went in circles a little bit there too. A couple new people were coming in. They may not have heard what I was saying in the beginning. So, but yeah, because I feel like sometimes we live in a world too where, especially now with the pandemic, that was sort of like my catchphrase I was going to put in the title, but I wanted it to specify the Twitch thing. Is is it trendy to be offended by everything? You know, sometimes it feels like people are going out of their way to find something new to say that they're offended by. And that's when I made a joke. Now, at that point, I absolutely made a joke. And I said, "What's next?" I can't say to people, "I'm happy to see you." That's a double ableism right there. What about the people that can't see and that aren't happy? You're rubbing in their face that you're happy and that you can see them. Like, you know what I mean? And again, I am being a smartass, but I'm also being serious at the same time. Is that what's next? You know, there's going to be a point where you can't say anything. If it's got any type of slight negativity to it or too much positivity, you're being insensitive to those that don't feel that way. You're not going to be able to say anything. So it's going to be pretty wild to see like what's next. What's the next word we can't say? So pretty wild shit is all I got to say. Like when I saw it at first, I thought this whole thing was a joke. I really did. I thought it was like a meme or something like that. And that's really the take. Inconsistency as well on Twitch's part. That's the other reason why I'm going hard on them with Twitch. Something that is very hard to argue with me on today. You can disagree with everything that I've said. You can agree that Twitch should remove blind playthrough, but I will still argue with you on one thing. Why is it okay to do that, but it's okay to leave Delphine and her shitty fucking bathwater bullshit go on and Alinity with animal cruelty? And if I have to, and you challenge me, I will show you the footage of her slapping and spitting in a dog's face, throwing a cat over her shoulder, letting the dog's snout go right up her fucking poop shooter. You see what I'm saying? Like, because in life, I can talk about a lot of things, as you can tell, a lot of things. Some things I can prove, some things I can't prove. Like the flying spaghetti monster believing in God, I can't exactly prove that. That's what having blind faith is. Oh, right? That's a good term. And that brought me to, I kind of forgot to go here. What's next? Blind faith, going in, believing something without seeing it. That to me is relevant. That's not being ableist to blind people. The blind spot in your car, that's that section where you literally can't see. And then going on a blind date, going to meet someone that you've never seen. Right? Like that's what I actually wanted to say like an hour ago. What's next? We're not going to be able to use those descriptions, you know, to depict a situation that I feel there isn't a better word to describe it. Never seen the girl before date. No, bitch, just blind date. The spot in the car you can't see from the side mirror. No, just the blind spot. Just the blind spot. Because that 5-letter word just explains everything. You know what I mean? I'm telling you, it's some wild effing shite. Everyone has to be in everyone's beeswax. If everyone would just mind their own business, the world would be a little. Oh, it would be. And that goes back to what I was saying earlier. I'm going to end it with this because, well, I'm going to have to. At this point, I'm going to have to go. I was going to do a little bit of gaming, but we see how well that went. Pasta Perry. But Like when I was talking about gay rights, if you mind your own business, you let people that love each other want to get married, whether your Bible tells you it's a sin or not. It doesn't matter. Mind your own business. They're not probing into your life, telling you that you shouldn't believe in something you can't even see. So let them do their thing. You can still, talk and preach and, read from the Bible. You can still do all those things. That's what places of worship are for. I've talked about this before. It was the same thing with Jesus. He would gather with the multitudes. But whether you believe in him or not, just for the sake of the conversation, um, when it comes to Jesus, he didn't go hunting people down to preach to. What he would do is he would tell people, if you want to listen to my message, seek me out. And then he would gather in a little forest under a tree with a little picnic basket and a loaf of bread that multiplies 1,000,000 times. Okay? And the multitudes, they gathered to him. So you couldn't go to Jesus and say, why are you preaching to me about your father? Why are you preaching to me about God? You went to him. He didn't chase you down. He didn't grab you by the ankle. Hey, bitch, did you hear about God? Jesus never did that. Whether you believe in Jesus or not isn't the point. I'm just sharing, right? He never did that. But yet you have people that act like that, like some type of enforcer. It just doesn't work. So yeah, if people just minded their own business for the most part, I choose to call something a blind playthrough. And, and I'm not trying to be funny about the title. I've never seen prior footage of the game, and I go in, and then you try to flag my video and go, this guy's making fun of blind. No, I'm not. Yeah, it's like mind your own business, I do something you shouldn't do. I use certain words I shouldn't say. Well, then sure, hold me accountable in that specific instance. But, yeah, it's just wild. I think Steven has too much time on his hands. Hello, Zeno. Who in the blue pineapple is Steven? Are you talking about Boogie2988 coming at you live through the power of the internet? That was a terrible impression, but is that who you're talking about? And are you new to the stream, Zeno? I think your excuse me, your name looks a bit familiar. 90% of the human race is severely blind. Yeah, well, yeah, they are. In many different ways, because again, it's got different definitions. Nowhere in there, are we attacking people that are disabled. Like, it's just, and I get that for the people that do that go out there and exploit people with disabilities or make fun of them. I get that. Quit being a prick. Don't get me wrong. Nathan, I've seen you before, so I know you're not trolling. A blind playthrough is just pretty simple. It's just going in blind. You've never seen any footage. You've never seen any information on the game you're playing. You're just going in blind without having ever seen anything. So it's not even a play on words. It's an actual definition in the dictionary. But that's offensive. Yeah, I know who you are. But that's offensive to the disabled community, apparently. The disabled community that can see, by the way, just to emphasize that part, that are not visually impaired. Apparently, that's a boo-boo. Wait, so you're not allowed to stream a game you've never seen? No, you're not allowed to use... Oh, that's cool. You're not... Well, yeah. What's the word? They're strongly encouraging that you use the words first playthrough or no spoilers playthrough instead of a blind playthrough. They won't ban you, but they have removed the word blind playthrough from their tags. So when you put a game, you can have some tags on Twitch. That thing I used to do where nobody would come and watch. That's okay, I don't blame them. They removed that from their tag, but you could still put in your title blind playthrough, but people won't be able to actively seek you out through that. So That's kind of cool there that they didn't go so hog wild as that they're going to ban people over it. It's not like it's freaking hate speech here, right? So they didn't go that hardcore. Um, so that's cool. It's a level of cool. They didn't go like super wild, right? Like if you use that word, that's it. You're suspended. You know what I mean? Like they didn't go that far, but they strongly encourage that you don't use that word, and that's what that whole topic of today was about, really. And then I gave some random other examples and whatnot. Oh, sorry. See, I was oblivious there. Yeah, you meant Steven Spawn. Yeah, I don't know who he is. Like I said, I'm sure he's a nice guy. Uh, but from what I know of him, which is very, very little, I think it's safe to say, and I don't like judging people by their appearance, I don't think he's blind. So I don't get why he gets to speak for the blind community. Right? Like he's disabled, I'm disabled. Looks like he's got a tube in his throat. Looks like he might be in a wheelchair there. So he's probably got a physical disability, where mine is more in the head. I'm more loopy. It's a mental disability. So we're both disabled, just differently disabled, but neither of us, from the looks of it. And they say don't judge a book by its cover, but most blind people don't look directly into the camera for obvious reasons because they don't know where the fuck the lens is. And that's not me trying to be funny. I'm being dead serious. That I'm telling you that that's why I believe that he can see. I don't think he's visually impaired. He probably has better vision than I do. But yet he's the spokesperson for, starting this movement of not using the word blind playthrough because he feels, offended by that. I don't see how, and that's what this whole thing is about. That's what it's all about. Yeah. Yeah, the term blind playthrough. You're allowed to use it. They're not going to ban you for using it, but they are going, or not they're going, they've removed the tag. Because you can search on Twitch for like certain keywords for tags. You can't use the word blind. It's gone. They removed it. You won't be able to see the word blind. A little bit of irony there, eh? Anyways. See, I could be cringy here and there. I know someone who's blind. I'm not going to ask their... I'm going to ask their opinion quick. I already know what this will be. Blind playthrough is offensive or some shit. Yeah. First playthrough is offensive to the second place winners. I feel offended because I was slow and I don't know how to count. I'm on my third playthrough, but it could be my first one. Don't judge me. You know? But again, putting all those jokes aside, that's what ends up happening sometimes with these movements. Is it opens the door to what's next. What's the next thing that we can complain about? Time to cancel first playthroughs. They all got to be second ones. You know? Maybe we're going to cancel people typing correctly. Right? We're being insensitive to people that are dyslexic. They type and read backwards. We're not. I didn't write Twitch removes blind playthrough following criticism all jumbled up with the letters all over the place. I didn't take into consideration people that are dyslexic. They won't be able to read this now. That's it. I'm getting canceled. This is the last stream. You see what I did there? Yes, I'm being a smartass. Yes, I'm trying to be funny. But I'm also trying to prove a point, and an actual serious one at that, all at the same time. What is next? You know? Word for word from my blind friend. Yeah, I just heard about that. It's stupid stuff like this that actually dehumanizes blind people Same with other disabilities. Being so scared to use a word is ultimately what makes people think we're more disabled than what we are. We are people, and trying to pussyfoot around is why people think blinds are incompetent. And that's another good point. Hello, Josh. And that's another good point. Again, I understand being kind. I do get that, and I don't want people thinking I don't. I don't want people's take, not that it matters what you think of me. I know what I think of me, and that's really technically all that matters. But I do care, you know, about trying to be better. I try to thrive to be better as I grow. Do I mature? Not really. But do I try to change certain things that might be obvious in me that need to be changed? In some things, yes, and some things, no. But that's always going to be the case, right? I'm not perfect. I'll never tell you that I'm perfect. I might tell you I'm a Christian. I might tell you I'm into the Bible, but I will never tell you that you need to do what I do. I will never tell you that I'm better because of what I'm into. And I will never pretend like I'm a role model either, where that's where most people that share my belief will try and do. They'll try and make it seem like they're up here and you're down there, and you've got to try to work hard to gain God's favor to get to their fucking level. Like, piss off. And that's why I stopped going to church, because it was just too much judgment. I was trying to go there to do Bible study. I was trying to go there to get a little bit more insight and grow in the faith, get a better understanding of the thing I'm into, only to be left with being persecuted and judged for every little thing I said and did. It became too much. There was too much bigotry. I met some really nice people. I could tell they're nice people, but they were a little bit too hardcore for me. They were just a little bit too much. If I said something like, "Oh shit, look at the time, I gotta go," uh, I really don't need to be tapped on the shoulder and be told that I'm cursing, because you're going to lose that finger. It's going to get jammed in your rectum, and it's not going to be straight in. It's going to be sideways. And it was just too much for me. So I had to walk away from the church. It was just, it was a shit fest. That's it. All in favor of canceling Phil. He's becoming sentient. Yeah. Well, don't do that. I might become sentimental. Sorry I missed it. Can someone explain what's happening with Twitch? So, super quick recap for Josh J. Josh, yes, Josh, you. Josh, Twitch has removed blind playthrough from their tags following criticism from gamers with disabilities that are not blind. You can't do it. It's gone. That's what's going on. And somehow I managed to talk for an hour and 40 minutes about it. Probably repeated myself a million times, but I had fun. And I still managed to keep a couple of people in here, which is pretty wild. I got about as many playbacks and as many concurrent viewers as I normally do playing a game. It's kind of cool. Doesn't really matter what I do. Just turn the camera on, the lights, and the mic, let the gum flapping begin. I get about the same thing. It's kind of interesting. I almost like this more in a way, simply because I'm not distracted by any video games. I'm not getting eaten by dinosaurs. I don't have the whole, U.S. Marine Corps in Call of Duty trying to snipe me. I can focus, you know what I mean, a lot better. So this is kind of cool. So that's what's happening there, Josh. Josh, I know I saw you yesterday. Are you fairly new to my channel? Or have you been around for a while and, no offense, I just didn't recognize you? I got canceled a lot for saying a lot of controversial stuff. Yeah, I've canceled you a few times, Aquino. New generation is too easily offended. That is true. I'm only in my early 20s, so I'm part of that generation. Yeah. But I do agree, like I said, I will admit, I do see and agree with some of it. I I would tell, which I won't because I already have. There are things, well, I do. But are you the Josh? Because as Josh J with a blue circle and a white J, that's new to me. That part is new to me. New-ish to me. But I saw you post about Empire of Sin earlier. Did you like that game? I do like the game. Yeah. I enjoy it. Absolutely. I'm glad I bought it and not Immortals Phoenix Rising. Not a popular opinion. I'm not saying the game I bought is better. That's not what I'm getting at. But I like this. I like the honesty. Josh says, and I quote, I got a few accounts. I remember a Josh. He was a special boy. And he had about 24 accounts. It takes that's being persistent. I like that. That's dedication. That's dedication. You block me, bitch, I'm coming back. Most people, they're too weak. You block them once, they don't try and jab again. They just stop. Oh my God, he blocked me. This guy was like, I'm not done with you. I like that. Oh yeah, I'm still doing my thing. We can have a good laugh. From today to, half a year ago, almost. No, I know, but I was saying when I saw your name yesterday as a joke, I was like, oh, I wonder if this is the Josh. That wasn't exactly the nicest guy in the beginning. But yeah, some things haven't changed much. Like my live streams, they haven't changed. But that's, like I said, I almost get more of I get a different kind of payment from this. Like I said, I get a lot of pent up energy, aggression, frustration, anxiety, depression, all these mixed feelings. And when I do this, it does something. Whether people are trolling, they're not trolling. There's nobody in here. There's 50,000 people in here. The result is still the same. I'm getting something out of it because I get to vent. You know what I mean? I get to get it off my chest. Before, 20 something years ago, I would have done drugs, alcohol, smoked a pack of cigarettes in a night. Now I just do this. It's a lot healthier. So that's like the main thing that I said. It's I have to have fun, and I do. Sure, I complain a bit. Oh, my YouTube channel is growing really well. Like I had the best month ever for November, the month of my birthday. Yeah, oh yeah, I was having a blast. Which is why, like I said, I love it when people come in and they go, really? 12,000 subs and you barely have 2 digits in your stream? And then I just kind of show them my analytics for 28 days. And they're like, what? What? I'm like, yeah. And then I say, so do you really think I need the 7 people in here to fill in the extra nickel I'm going to get at the end of the month if I even get a nickel for this? I said, you really think I do this here now because I'm that desperate for the money? No, not at all. I've come to realize that I'll probably never make it like some of the other people I would have liked to have thought I could make it as big as. Uh, Even if I think I have what it takes, it doesn't matter what I think I have. The reality is the ball ain't really moving, right? But at least I got the ball. See what I did there? Some people don't even have the ball. They don't even know where to throw it. That probably made no sense, but it did to me. I know what I was trying to say with that. But yeah, like I said, I just like having fun. Period. And not clickbaiting people. Which is why This is, I think, the first time I've done a stream completely dedicated to not even playing a game, even though I had the intention of doing so afterwards. But no, it's been an interesting day. I am going to have to go for supper there in a couple of minutes. But if I come back, this is done. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is done. I got this off my chest. I got my hands on a brand new Google Stadia for $30 and I'm excited to try it out. Well, I mean, I don't like Stadia, but what I like and don't like doesn't matter. I don't like online only things. But I think the main positive thing about Stadia is pretty simple. Doesn't matter how graphic intensive a game is. I think that's the whole idea behind Stadia. Because everything is streamed, you don't have to have the hardware to power, a behemoth of a game. At least I think that's the idea. Like a Red Dead Redemption 2. I don't know if that's how it works, but I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think on something like a Google Stadia, could you not play a game like Red Dead Redemption 2, 60 frames, 4K HDR, no problem with like a little box? Is that the whole idea behind Stadia? A waste of 30 bucks. What? No, I don't think it's a waste. Nothing is ever a waste if the person who did the purchase is happy. Again, this isn't a flex. This is not a flex. My microphone with my stand was about 700 Canadian. That is absolutely ludicrous. Right? To the average person, for me to spend that amount of money on a microphone. But if it makes me sound good, I enjoy it, I make money from YouTube, I consider this like a career. That doesn't really pay much, but hey, I'm happy. You podcast once a year for 5 minutes, you spend $700 on a microphone. Yeah, it might be a little bit more of a waste of money. But ultimately, if you're happy with your purchase, I know I'm being a smartass, but to me, it's not a waste. But you can, eh? Yeah, I don't. Yeah. So the reason I know I'm kind of going off course here, but that's okay. It's like 2 hours into the stream. It's okay for me to go off course. The reason I don't like Stadia is because I don't like online only gaming. But what I love about Stadia, which sounds contradicting, is the extra option for that to be a viable thing for people that don't mind it. In life, I've always said this, I'm about options. I don't like characters that are off to the side in third-person games. I like them right in the middle. Some people like them off to the side. I say have both options. Why? You please everybody. Everybody's happy. I don't like playing as a girl. I like playing as a male character. But I love video games that have both. Why? Because it makes everybody happy. It's all about options. The more options you have, the better. I don't want the world to ever go like with consoles to where they're online only machines. But I love the idea that there are some that are going to go in that direction so long as our beloved consoles don't also take that course, then I'm okay with it. Because again, you cater to everybody. If you just do one thing, you're not catering to everybody. And that to me is crap. Oh, Stadia's fantastic. Absolutely. It's a genius move. I just personally don't care for the product myself. Because it's an OCD thing. Like, yes, I play World of Warcraft, I play Destiny, those are online only. I get that. But I have games that I can play without the internet. It's a mental, and I'm actually being serious here. This is actually part of my mental issues, and it sometimes controls my life. I am obsessed with having control. Like a control freak, but not in the negative kind of way you're thinking. I like playing like my guitar, for example. I don't have to plug it in to anything. I can still hear it. It's an electric guitar. I can still hear the strings and it sounds good because it's a high-end guitar. And if I strum it, you can still hear really well the chords and the notes and the songs that I'm playing. But I have the option to plug it in with something that requires electricity. And then I can, get my sound there. What I'm getting at is with video games, I have this thing with, well, now I require and I have to rely on electricity for my TV to work, my keyboard to work, my controller, my screen, my computer, my CPU. And I'm being serious. This is actually a part of the mental issues I have. And it literally goes to the point where it drives me crazy. So on PC, when you've got things like Steam, Uplay, GOG, all the other ones, it drives me nuts. That's why I love consoles. Assassin's Creed, done. NHL, done. Destiny, done. I do that on PC. I gotta load up Origins if I want to play an EA game. I gotta load up Steam if I want to play Destiny. I gotta load up Uplay if I want to play Assassin's Creed or Immortals. That, again, makes my brain go apeshit. Your game save doesn't go in the save of the game. It could go under C, Users, Spartacus, App Data, Ubisoft, Assassin's Creed, Save Data, Save 001. For the love of God and all that is holy. On a console, it's just Save Data, Assassin's Creed, Save Data, NHL hockey. It's just simpler. Makes my brain go less cuckoo. Now to get to the point of the Stadia. Kind of ranting there. I've got to rely on all those things, but now I also have to rely on an additional source. Internet. And it makes my brain want to have an aneurysm. That's why I don't like it. But I'm being serious. It's because I'm just messed up that way. You like playing as a tree? I could play as a tree in World of Warcraft. Me when no internet? Yeah. Well, I lose service a lot, even though I live in a good neighborhood, and it's not all ghetto or whatever or run down. My internet and my electricity isn't the most stable. So it's kind of like a Stadia. I look at it, like I said, mentally, I require electricity and internet. Whereas everything else, I just require electricity. So it's like that one less thing I have to rely on that's not reliable 100%. That's the thing about it. I play Magic the Gathering. I don't know if you people know what that is or you. Always be on the internet. I worry about app that I can't. I almost took myself out with the microphone. I don't know if people knew this about me, but I've been playing this game since it first came out. It's called Magic the Gathering, and there's a lot more where that came from. But that's one of my decks. Anyways, this is a very special game to me. I'm not going to get all sentimental. It was introduced to me by my best friend Brad, who got killed back in '97 by a drunk driver. And a lot of the cards that I still have to this day, some have great value, some have no value, but they have sentimental value. They came from him. So it was a very special game for me because back in the 90s, in the early 90s, when we played this, when it first came out, we played video games, we went to school, we did all that stuff, we partied, hung out with girls, all that stuff. But we knew that there was more to life than just that. There was just sitting down and relaxing and getting away from all the electronics and all that kind of stuff and chatting online, because that did exist back in the 90s. It was just in a primitive state. So he introduced me to this. He said, "You like playing poker and all that and blackjack?" And I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, if you think staring at a white card with a number in the corner is exciting, wait till you see the power that you can harness from this." And I was like, show me that. And I just got hooked, and then, like a nice plastic case. I got different colors and stuff like that. Like, look at this one, bit of a flex there, but it's not real gold, obviously, but it's gold. Um, and it's like got a magnet, and it's like high grade leather, and I can just like flip it open. All my cards are in there for my different deck, and it was just cool. It was just like I'd take out one of these boxes, put it on the table, and I'd be like, "What are you rolling with today?" We'd like tap our cards, and I'm gonna chaos orb your shit, and it was so geeky, but it was so fucking fun. We'd be sipping on like a rum and coke or something. Maybe we'd smoke a little something, you know what I mean? But we just had so much fun. And I don't even know where the hell I was going with this. Where the fuck was I going with this? How did I even get onto this? I think, with games, with OCD and having to rely on electronic, right? So the reason I love Magic the Gathering is I also found a way to play solo by myself, which is a lot of fun. And again, I don't have to rely on anything. No TV, no computer. I don't have to rely on the internet working, the electricity. I don't have to rely on my microphone, people showing up, nothing. I just pick up that box. I guess I have to rely on my motor skills, that my fingers still fucking work. Not to poke light at that, because that scares the shit out of me, man. That disease, ALS, fuck that shit. If I ever have that, I'm jumping off a bridge before it gets me. But so long as I can move my hand, yeah, I could just play. I enjoy the artwork. I don't know, it's something different. And so I'm really into that, even though you probably never knew that. I have about 30 years of shit in a big tote bin from Walmart next to me. I was actually going through my cards earlier. You used to play that game when you were in school. But anyway, so that's why, and this is why I don't do this often. But yeah, that's why I kind of went all over the place there. But Stadia came out about a year ago. I forget what it looks like. I'm looking up Stadia, and all I see is a controller. For a split second, I thought that was actually like I thought it was like folded, like earmuffs. That's like an Apple TV. Is that what that is? It's just like a little wee thing. You plug it somewhere. Oh shit, there it is there. Google Stadia unboxing. Red Dead Redemption. It's a cool idea. Maybe I'm just salty because it's expensive with everything else that I pay into. That's the Chromecast. Well, that shows you how much I know. Hey, I did type in Stadia. Right? Now, are the games all like... Oh, I think I remember when it first came out, you can choose to subscribe to 4K or 1080p. I don't care about 4K. To me, it's a gimmick. I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for that, but I can explain it if I have to someday. I'm all about 60 frames and 1080p. Can you play Red Dead Redemption 2 1080p at 60 frames? Because that's something that like no modern computer can do without spending like a good $2,000. Is it Google State? It shows you how much I know, eh? But yeah, anyways, I'm gonna have to go in a sec. Is it a Google Stadia? Why does it keep showing me the Chromecast? Stadia Google is a cloud gaming service developed, operated by Google Stadia. Yeah, I'll have to look into it for the fun of it. I think my problem would be having to buy all the games I already have on console. Again, try Stadia Pro on us for a month and get $10 off your first game per. I think you can subscribe to games or you can also buy them. I don't really remember. I'll have to look into that after. You get free games, okay. But yeah, are all games 60 frames? Is that like one of the main catches of Stadia? Is you just get this little thing and it's like 60 frame smooth gaming, no lag, because you don't have any hardware that's pushing it because they're pushing it for you. Hence the whole cloud gaming thing. Because the concept is amazing. I could just never have Stadia as my main game. Does that make sense? Like if I started streaming PC games and I found that my PC was starting to lag too much behind, I should almost just fucking start streaming PC games on Stadia. Get it? I wouldn't be limited by my hardware because everything would be streamed through the internet. I have a 1 gigabyte wired internet connection. Trust me, I'm sure that's enough horsepower to stream and run Stadia. You got to get Stadia Pro and good connection for 60 frames. Okay, okay. Yeah, I'm sure I would qualify for 60 frames. I have a 1 gigabyte internet, 1,000 megabytes a second. In the development oh, okay. But yeah, I'll look into this after. I am gonna go. Trust me, that's a good thing. Everybody needs a mental break from me. But I had fun. And hopefully, I don't know if interesting is the right word to use, but hopefully this was a bit of an eye opener for some people to kind of finish off with this. The whole point about talking about this wasn't to change your mind on how you should feel. It was just me sharing what I felt about this very specific thing to see what some people thought of it. And that's pretty much it. And then, the $1 million question of, what's next, right? Like that joke that I said earlier, but I was being serious, telling people that you're happy to see them is going to be banned. You won't be able to put happy because it's an ableist slur to those who have, depression. So is that the direction we're going into? So that was the discussion for today. And like I said, a bit of a heavy subject because I got into a lot of some other heavier things that sort of kind of loosely tied back into this. But at least it was appropriately titled, not like some people do and they completely talk about something else. And if I do stream tonight in about 3 hours from now, it's going to be completely different. It's probably just going to be a video game, me just relaxing, enjoying myself, playing some World of Warcraft Shadowlands and or Empire of Sin, which is a game I just purchased on the PS4 Pro that I'm actually really enjoying. And for now, I'm going to have supper. And I mean, I will take a look at the Stadia thing, but yeah. Still in development, got to go to work, right? J Rest, I don't get paid enough for this shit anyway, see. Sounds good. All right, thanks for stopping by for whoever was in here. This has been one of my longest streams in quite a while, 2 hours talking about absolutely nothing. Still got about 130 views on the stream, so that's pretty cool. If I would have done this as a regular upload, probably would have gotten 10, 15 views at most. So that's another ulterior motive as to why I live stream anything I do. I get more overall views because I've joked about this before, but I'm being serious. I don't get paid on how many people are in the live stream. I get paid on the playbacks. So if 133 people clicked, came in, and left, and went, this guy's nuts, I'm leaving, I'm getting paid on that, not what my average concurrent viewers are. And I estimated I get almost 30,000 views a month alone from my live streams. I'm just saying, that's 30,000 views. That's an extra couple of bucks on top of everything else. It all adds up. So who knows? I do this for a few years. Maybe instead of a few hundred views, it'll be a few thousand and so on and so forth. But anyhow, thanks for stopping by. I will be back, maybe, more than likely, in roughly exactly 3 hours from now at 8 o'clock Eastern. Until then,